How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great and I hope you all had a relaxing weekend. I am Radu and I am back with another daily analysis, starting off with the Forex pairs. To be more exact, I'm gonna start off with USD CAD. So on USD CAD, we have a very nice potential sell limit opportunity. We have this bearish range here, okay? And let me tell you exactly why I consider this sell limit opportunity right here. So the reason for that is very simple. We had a very small liquidity sweep here, followed by a very impulsive break of structure to the downside. If we look closely, we also left inefficiency behind, and this unmitigated order block lines up perfectly with our fire zone, with our area of interest. Now, we want to see a corrective pullback, which we already have, in order for us to pull the trigger. And if we enable the TradeOrg SMC indicator, on this specific setup, we don't really have any confluences in terms of the indicator, but that doesn't really matter all the time because we can still take setups only based on market structure. So that's why we are still going to consider this sell limit opportunity. Okay, once again, very nice, very neat price action. Okay, very textbook liquidity sweep here above this week, followed by again a very visible impulsive break of structure to the downside. Okay, so now we can move on to our next Forex pair, which is going to be, let me quickly check. Let's quickly save this chart, which is going to be AUD USD. Okay, so on this one, again, we have another sell limit opportunity. Liquidity sweep followed by a impulsive break of structure to the downside. We broke this low here, this low here, this low here, significant lows. Price is overall bearish as well. And then check this out. Once price broke structure, it left a pretty big inefficiency behind because we can see that this fair value gap lines up perfectly with our area of interest. Now, all we want to see is a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. Till then, it is just a waiting game. And if we enable the TradeOrg SMC indicator on this one, we had a great confluence. Why? Because look at the graph. Look at the graph. At first, we have all the time frames besides the M15 bearish, and we don't really care about the M15 and neither about the 60-minute time frame. We only care about the 4-hour and the daily, and we can see that those two are bearish, so that's a great confluence for us, as well as the TradeOrg order block that's lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, so this is exactly why we are considering this setup. Once again, we have to keep it super simple and straight to the point. Next up, NZD USD, again, another sell limit opportunity. Looks pretty similar to AUD USD, I'm not gonna lie. We have a very textbook liquidity sweep here, followed by an impulsive break of structure to the downside. Once again, we broke multiple lows, and then, as we can see, we left some imbalance behind. We have a fair value gap here lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the TradeOrg SMC indicator, on this one, we don't really have any confluences, but like I said, sometimes it's totally fine to only take a setup based on a price action, okay? And now, once again, in order for us to pull the trigger, we want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone, okay? Keeping it simple, keeping it simple. Next up, we have GBP CAD, another sell limit opportunity, okay? So far, we have a lot of sell limit opportunities. On this one, to be fair, on this one, I didn't really have a liquidity sweep, but if I zoomed out, I saw that GBP CAD was in a pretty massive downtrend, and it's also playing at a higher time frame point of interest. So we could definitely reject from here and head lower. We can also see some bearish momentum. Why? Because look at this impulsive break of structure to the downside here with this huge candle, okay? After that, I also saw that we have this fair value gap left behind that lines up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the TradeOrg SMC indicator, again, on this one, we have a great confluence with it. Why? Because we can look at the graph and see that the daily and the 4-hour are both bearish, which is a great confluence for us. And then we also have the TradeOrg order block that is lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, so now, as always, we want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. Okay, and that's about it for this pair. We can now move on to the next one, which is AUD JPY. Again, another sell limit opportunity. Pretty similar liquidity sweep followed by a very impulsive break of structure it's very easy to see the impulsiveness, right? Because we just look at these full candles that broke structure to the downside, and we say to ourselves, okay, this is a very impulsive break of structure. Why? Because it also left inefficiency behind. Again, fair value gap lining up perfectly with our fire zone. And if we enable the trade order indicator on this one, the 4 hour is bearish, which is great. And in terms of trade order order blocks, we don't really have any trade order order blocks lining up with our fire zone on this specific case, but that's totally fine. And now, as always, we want to see a corrective pullback in order for us to take this trade and pull the trigger. Okay. Next up, we have NZD CAD. All right. And as always, I'm only discussing about the pairs that have potential setups, because these ones with orange, I already analyzed them before starting this live session, and there's no setups on those pairs. So we are legit speaking only about the pairs that have something going on. Okay. Next up, NZD CAD, another sell limit opportunity. Okay. Liquidity sweep above these two highs, followed by a very impulsive break of structure to the downside. We broke once again multiple lows here and here as well. We also left a fair value gap behind, lining up with our area of interest. And if we enable the trade order indicator, the 4 hour is bearish on the graph, which is great. And we also have the trade order block running up perfectly with our fire zone. And now the last step is to wait for a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order to pull the trigger. Okay. Moving on to AUD CAD. Again, another sell limit opportunity. Very nice liquidity sweep here. I like this liquidity sweep here a lot, because we have these two equal lows. Price barely went above them, stopped everyone out, grabbed liquidity, and then moved impulsively to the downside, once again breaking multiple lows. So this setup here, in my opinion, looks very, very good. Once again, fair value gap right on our fire zone. Now, if we enable the trade order indicator, again, we have a great confluence on this setup as well with the trade order indicator. Daily and 4 hour are bearish on the graph, and we also have the trade order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Now, all there's left is for us to see a corrective pullback in order to pull the trigger. But apart from that, this setup looks very, very well. Looks very good, in my opinion. Euro AUD is the next pair, and finally we have a buy limit opportunity. Liquidity sweep here, followed by an impulsive break of structure to the upside. Sorry, we broke all these highs here with this impulsive push. If we look closely, we also have this fair value gap lining up with our area of interest. Okay, and if we enable the trade order indicator, let's see if we have some confluence with it. And yes, we do. We have some great confluence with it. Daily and 4 hour bullish on the graph, and then we have this trade order block lining up perfectly with our fire zone. Okay, and so far we have a pretty corrective pullback, so I really rate that. But again, we have to wait to see how price will pull back towards our fire zone in order to decide if we are going to pull the trigger or not. Okay, next up we have Eurojpy. Again, another sell limit opportunity. Very simple. Liquidity sweep followed by an impulsive break of structure to the downside. We have a very nice fair value gap lining up perfectly with our fire zone. We have inducement here as well. Why? Because traders might sell from this level, price might stop them out, tap us in, and then go lower. That would be the ideal scenario. And the trader indicator shows us that the daily is bearish on the graph, which is a very good confluence to consider this setup. And lastly, once again, we want to see a corrective pullback in order to consider taking this setup. Okay, next up, GBP/USD with another sell limit opportunity. Again, very similar to the other setups that we consider valid. Liquidity sweep followed by a very nice and impulsive break of structure to the downside, leaving this fair value gap behind that is lining up once again perfectly with our fire zone. Let's see what the trade order indicator tells us. We have a good looking graph. Okay, the daily is bearish, which is great. And now we want to see a corrective pullback once again in order for us to pull the trigger. And lastly, for our Forex analysis, we have Euro USD, yet again with another sell limit opportunity. Sorry. Liquidity sweep here above all these highs, followed by an impulsive break of structure to the downside. And I love this fair value gap here that is lining up perfectly with our fire zone. And let's see what the trader indicator shows us. Again, the graph is looking pretty good. The daily is looking bearish. And now all there's left is for us to see a corrective pullback in order to pull the trigger on this setup. Okay, so that being said, this pretty much ends today's Forex analysis. As always, let us know in the Discord if there's any questions. All right, so now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold. So on gold, unfortunately, today I don't really see any setups. Okay, so we rejected from this daily demand level, and if we look on the daily time frame, we are approaching this area here. Okay, and what I want to see is how price will react to this area here on the 4 hour. Will it break it to the upside? Because if yes, then I might look for some buy opportunities. Or will it reject aggressively and head to the downside? So far, we can see that it rejected from this 4 hour unmitigated order block very nicely. Okay, so I want to see if we get a pullback, then another clear break, then I might look for some sales up there to take price lower. Okay, that would be like the ideal scenario. And in terms of buys, I would look for some buys if I see a very clear break of structure above this order block here. Then on the retracement, I might look for some buys to take price up there. This would be the two possible scenarios I currently see on gold. Till then, I will just stay on the sidelines. Okay, there's no point to force anything. And next up, we have silver. Okay, so on silver, we do actually have a buy limit opportunity. All right, because we still have this unmitigated order block here that I think will get tapped into very soon. And it would be nice if we would get a retracement, a corrective one towards our fire zone. And then from here, price could then go towards this unmitigated order block. Okay, if we enable the trade org indicator, the 4 hour is bullish, which is a pretty good confluence. And here we had a very textbook liquidity sweep, followed by a very aggressive break of structure to the upside that left this inefficiency behind, this fair value gap that is lining up perfectly with our fire zone. Okay, so now we just want to wait to see if we get a corrective pullback on this pair to then enter some buys here. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for the metals, for today's metals analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to let us know in the Discord. Now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US30. So on US30, we rejected from this daily demand level, but to be fair, right now, I don't really see any clear setups on this pair. Okay, we can see that we are currently consolidating. We kind of created a box here. Okay, we can quickly draw it. And I just want to see a clear break. I want to see either a clear break to the upside, forming a nice bullish range, or a clear break to the downside, going deeper into this demand level here. Okay, that's what I want to see. Either one of these two scenarios to be like, okay, I'm gonna go long, or I'm gonna look for some shorts. Until then, I will just stay on the sidelines on US30. Next up, we have SPX500. On this one, we do actually have a sell limit opportunity. Okay, so looking very nice. We have a liquidity sweep here, followed by a very aggressive break of structure to the downside. We also have this unmitigated order block that's lining up perfectly with our area of interest. We can zoom in closely to make sure that it is unmitigated. Okay, we can see that the wicks aren't overlapping. Okay, and if we enable the trade org indicator, check this out. The daily is bearish, which gives us a great confluence. And now we just want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order to pull the trigger and then potentially take price lower. Okay, that's why this setup is valid. But again, we just got to wait for the corrective pullback in order to pull the trigger. All right, so that's about it for SPX. And lastly, NAS100. On this pair, again, I don't really see a setup. We rejected nicely to this daily demand level, daily supply level here. But right here, I don't really see a clear setup. I don't really see a clear range. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere as well, because we are literally in the middle of these two zones. So I don't know. I just want to see some impulsive momentum, either to the up or downside, for me to consider looking for some setups on NAS100. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for on this pair. Till I get that, I'll just stay on the sidelines. It is that simple. Okay, and yeah, this pretty much ends the indices analysis for today. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to let us know in the Discord. All right, so now I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin, we do actually have a potential buy limit opportunity, okay? We haven't yet touched this daily supply level, so I still think price could definitely climb towards it before heading lower, okay? And check what happened. Bitcoin actually gave a pretty nice buy limit opportunity here, okay? We had a liquidity sweep here, followed by a very impulsive break of structure to the upside. We can see how big the bullish momentum was here, okay? And then if we look closely, price left some inefficiencies behind. We have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the TradeOrc indicator, we have the TradeOrc auto block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And then look at the graph, okay? So we have a very, very nice confluence with the TradeOrc SMC indicator on this cryptocurrency, on Bitcoin. And that's exactly why we will consider this setup. But now we just gotta wait for a corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger. Next up, we have Ethereum, and on this pair, to be fair, I didn't really found anything, okay? I don't really see any decisions being made in the markets right now. I want to see a decisive move either to the up or downside to either consider shorting or longing. But till then, I'm just gonna stay on the sidelines. I don't really see any clear price action on this crypto currency right now. So that's exactly why I'm not gonna discuss much about it, because there's no point to waste any time on it, and move on to Dogecoin. And to be fair, on this one, pretty much the same exact story. We are kind of at a daily point of interest if we look closely. Okay, so we just gotta wait and see how price will react to it. And once again, on this pair as well, I don't see a lot of decisions being made. I see a lot of fake outs, a lot of wicks, a lot of indecisions. So I don't really like that. And therefore, like I said, I'm not gonna waste any time on it. I'll just leave the chart as is and move on to the next crypto coin, which is XRP. And then again, on this one, pretty much the same exact story. I think that besides Bitcoin, we don't really have any valid crypto setups at this moment, which is, like I said, totally fine. We don't have to force anything, okay? Again, look at this price section here, okay? No decisions being made, a lot of fake outs, a lot of wicks. So there's no point. There's no point to FOMO. There's no point to force any setups. So that's why, again, I'm keeping it very simple, and I'm going over to the last cryptocurrency we have, which is Solana. Okay, so on Solana, on the daily, if we look, we are approaching this daily supply level where price could probably reject from. Okay, so on the 4-hour, price is currently approaching it. On the 4-hour, price is currently approaching it. So I want to see how price will react to this supply level. Until then, again, I don't really see a valid setup here. I won't necessarily look for longs, because once again, we could get a very aggressive retracement from this zone here, and we don't want to see that if we look for some longs. So till then, I just want to wait to see how price will react to this area, because I do think that it will get tapped into pretty soon. And yeah, that being said, this pretty much ends today's crypto analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to let us know on the Discord. And as always, I'll see y'all on the dork side. Take care.